Welcome, brothers and sisters of the flat earth. How are you doing? It's Rick here as ever. Thanks for joining us once again. As ever, if you are watching on YouTube, just take a moment, do me a real solid. This is like really going to help me, man, going into the future, going into some kind of future life here, doing this sort of content. Just take a moment to like and subscribe and press the little bell icon and select all. That way you'll get all the videos anytime we put anything up from the podcast or Project 1046 or whatever other content we're doing. We've got other channels which are coming, and I've been saying that for a minute, but it will be coming. We just got some complications. Anyway, also check out the flatearthpodcast.com for any more information about us, previous episodes, freaking hell, previous episodes, link to the audio only Spotify channel. There's also a little PayPal button on there if you want to buy a brother a snow cone, a football team, like a dinosaur relic, like a head or something. I heard Nicolas Cage bought one for like 50 million. I'm not sure that's true. Anyway, do what you got to do. No one's going to tell you what to do. You give as you feel led to. Anyway, how you doing? It's Tuesday over here. I don't know when you're watching this. It certainly is not going to be Tuesday. Well, it might be a Tuesday, but it's not this particular Tuesday because they're only going to put this up till whatever. It's Tuesday. We've had 2 weeks off for half term, whole Easter thing. Getting back into the grind now. Finally, like my wife went back to work today. One of my daughters went back to school. My other daughter goes back to school tomorrow. So finally tomorrow I'm kind of back into control and rhythm of my own. So it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. I just want to talk to you about something really specific. I've had a really odd feeling all day. I don't know if you ever had this. Like, let me back up before I start. I've got this belief, right? I've got this belief that however you wake up in the morning, the first conversations you have, the first bit of food or drink or interactions with people or whatever, however you wake up in the morning, those first moments, those first few frames of the film of that day, they will determine, if you're not careful, how the rest of the day goes. And I woke up on this morning, which is the 19th of April 2022, I woke up in sheer panic. I was asleep, I was chilling, I was just like, I'd stayed up a bit late, watched some Netflix, but went to bed, I was enjoying my sleep. But I woke up because Tuesdays is normally bin day. It's the day when people come and collect all the rubbish or recycling or whatever week it is from us. And I just had this like total fear attack this morning that I hadn't put the bin out. And I don't know if you've ever done this. Like, you're asleep, you're Zing out, you're just there, you're catching some Zeds, and then all of a sudden you're up, you're out the bed, and I was just like up out the bed looking out the window straight away. And my wife was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh no, I thought it was bin day." But I don't know what it was. It's something so stupid like bin day. Do you know what I mean? And we've all done it. I don't know about. I've run out countless times and met my bin men in like just like not. I don't wear pajamas, but just in a state of some undress and confusion, just handing some stranger a beard. Handing some stranger a bin. I even had an argument with one bin guy who refused to take my bin, and it got physical early in the morning, swear words and stuff. Anyway, I say all that to say that for the rest of the day, I've been on edge. There's other stuff going on, life, the cut and thrust of life and things. But I think it was that early morning moment of just waking up and rushing straight into like fear and panic over something so menial as like bin collection day and missing it. But it just set me on edge. And it had me today thinking about panic and thinking about and not so much panic attacks. I don't think I've ever had a panic attack, and I feel I have great concern for people who do suffer from panic attacks. I don't think they're making it up. I don't think they're like overdoing it. I think that's a thing, and I think it's horrible. And I have friends who have had it, and it's just like it must be nasty. But I'm talking about like is panic attacks, and way down here is like when panic attacks you, like when a moment somehow just fills you with dread. And it's not an attack that so overwhelms you, but it's a slow, creeping sense of something. There is a horror film out a couple of years ago called It Follows. I don't know if you saw it, right? But the idea was that everything in the frame was always moving towards the person, and this sense of, and it's a classic horror film trope, that the evil, the you know, the vampire, the undead, whatever, is this slow creeping unstoppable thing, just slowly, no matter what, it's just coming towards you. It's always going to just come and get you at some point. And I'm talking about that kind of panic. Now obviously I had this initial kind of like shock this morning. But there are other times when, like, have you ever had a moment where you're going to bed and you're thinking, right, I'm really tired, I've got lots of stuff to do tomorrow. But for some reason, something just hits you and you begin to think about something. It might be financial, it might be relational, it might be professional, so it might be to do with money or lack of, broken relationships, or some interaction you're fearing or interaction you've had. It might be something in your professional life, like something where you've got a meeting, you've got something you've got to do, but suddenly you go from that, I'm just sleeping, I want to rest, to just, you kind of awake and your mind is overactive and you're fearful, and it's a low level panic, but it's a sustained panic. And I don't know, like, I'm a guy who, I want to rip the band-aid off stuff. Like, I'm happy, like, if something happens and just something attacks, we deal with it, we cope with it, I can deal with the explosion. But it's just the slow, it's the splinter, right? It's that I burnt this finger today making a fried egg, and it's really annoying. It's been annoying me for this evening, because it's just a low level, like, oversensitive bit at the end of my finger now. This sort of panic, this sort of nervousness is like a splinter. Every occasion you catch it and it spikes at you, but you're aware it's always there, kind of under your skin. I don't know, am I talking rubbish here? Or do you relate to this? That for all of us, there are some areas where you may see a spike in panic. Something may get you back up. It may shock you, may make you jump out of bed, or want to go back to bed, or want to never get out of bed. But then there are these other things that are just a slow, grating, low-level pressure. It's like being pecked to death by a duck. You know, it's just slow, arduous, endless, consistent aggravation somewhere on some really low subconscious level. And I was thinking about it today, because I was walking around and feeling it, and I actually did some menial tasks today, just like my daughter went off on a play date with a friend of hers, and I had to fill the cart with loads of rubbish from the garden, from building this place. Still got rubbish in the garden, believe it or not. And I had to go to the local tip recycling centre, whatever they call it now. The dump, we used to call it when I was little. When I was little, I used to jump in my dad's black London taxi cab. We would have filled up the whole back. He used to jump into the illegal luggage compartment and sit in there, and we'd drive off to the dump. And this is in the 80s. So the dump then was literally, you'd go to a place where people would back their cars up to like a 60-foot drop and just throw shit off the end. No one had any concern for recycling. No one had any concern for what was going on down below. Was there even a worker down there? You'd get there, it doesn't matter, man. You got a grand piano, you got a concrete block, you got an oil drum, you got a dead body, you got a deceased pet, you got like whatever it is. You just throwing that shit off the edge of this thing. And I remember the fear going up to the edge of it, throwing it off, and just thinking, if I fell down there, I'd die. I'd be under. Like, people just keep throwing like old bits of sofa and cabbage and I don't know, and I'd be lost forever. Anyway, I say all that to say it's very different now. But so I've got menial tasks. I'm at the local recycling centre, and I'm thinking about this all day. I'm thinking, like, what is it in us where something gets stuck in our brain and it begins to occupy that space of panic or fear with us? Because it really is a head game. It really is a mental game. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't actual things in our life that are issues and that press on us, but the fact that that issue can exist in our lives completely not unnoticed, but sort of unassisted. We're not giving it anything. It's there. We can deal with it. But every now and then it can really overpower us. And that's to do with how we're thinking about it, how it is pressing itself upon our thoughts, our conscious life, our subconscious life. I don't know, just something in there. And it's such a strange thing, because, like, you can be in a moment where life feels great, everything's going good, and then suddenly you can get a text message or you can have a phone call from an unknown number, or you can have an interaction with someone, or a funny email, or a funny phone call, or a knock at the door, and it can shift your whole lens for the day, how you were looking at things. It can shift your whole outlook. And all of a sudden, you, the same you that was there before the call and the text and the knock and the interaction, the same you that was there before all that is changed. And your whole day is coloured differently. Now, I'm not someone who says like we should just learn to control our minds and then we'll be able to ignore all of these problems. I don't think so. But there is something where I think when we're overwhelmed with something, there's somehow we've got to recognise like these things aren't real in the way maybe we own them to be sometimes. That it is to do with the bent of our attention in that moment. And to be able to go actually and step back from it and go, I'm going to put my attention somewhere else. Now, I follow Jesus. I read the scriptures. I pray. So today, as I've got this ominous thing going on, and there are issues in my life of stuff going on with work and the future and all this sort of stuff. And in years gone by, I would like really easily just go to pray. I'd go to pray. I would sing and worship, and I would just give all these issues to God. But something has happened lately. I don't know what it is. I feel a blockage in prayer. I feel a resistance, not from outside of me, but from within me. Something in me where I'm unable or unwilling, or some place that doesn't have like a recognized permission, I've backed off from that sort of stuff. So I found myself today having to intentionally press into, all right, I'm feeling funny. I'm going to give this to God. I'm going to be like, God, you got to help me with this. I'm feeling funny. Why am I feeling weird? Why am I feeling edgy? Why am I feeling panicky? I had to really press into it. And if I could describe it, it would be that I feel like I'm on a slightly low level. You can turn the volume up on something. I feel like my volume's been turned down a little bit. So I began to kind of just pray about that and think about that and try and step out from it. But all day long I've been thinking about this, like this. What goes on with us when panic attacks, when something begins to play on our mind? How can we get past it? Because there are these people, right, in our world who kind of, hold on a second. Now tea always makes it better. Anyway, so there are these people, right, in our world who talk about the power of the mind, and we can teach you to do anything. If you learn the power of mind, you can heal yourself and become wealthy and powerful, and the law of attraction. And I don't go that far. I don't think. There are some real things. There are some real empirical, actual, biological, material things going on in the world. But there is so much in us about how we view things and how we carry things. And you can carry a thing in a really heavy way that will play on you, and then you'll be able to carry other things in a different way. There are some people I know who carry things full on. Like they feel everything. They carry everything. Everything's the burden. Everything's the worry and the concern, and has their attention. That's a problem. That's no way to live. And then I think you have someone a bit more like me, where I'm largely, most of the time, able to put things right to the peripheral of my life and able to go, ignore that, I'm doing this. So right now I'm podcasting. I'm not thinking about anything else. You know, I'm able to make myself a cup of tea or a nice meal and sit down. And for the moment, that is the thing, nothing else. But that's not always good, because stuff doesn't get done. There's some place in the middle where we have to learn to give attention to things that panic us and bother us and stir us, but not too much, you know? And something in us, we need to be able to dismiss these things and push them to the edge, that peripheral, that hedge around us. push them to the other side of that and concentrate just on the things we're doing in that moment. And I don't know exactly how to do that. Is this working for you? Do you understand what I'm saying with this stuff? The slow, and I think this stuff does come on late at night. For me, anyway, it's the going to bed thoughts that suddenly you remember something you've got to do or have done or not done, and it begins to prey on you. And if you go to bed like that, you will kind of get up like that. It's very important when you go to bed, smooth and relaxed, and then you don't wake up in the same place. Your day actually begins when you go to sleep. It doesn't begin when you get up. It's in how you go to bed, you know. I don't know. These are my thoughts, man. I ain't got much else. The world is some bullshit at the moment. We still got wars going on. We still got all sorts of craziness going on and whatever, you know what I mean? But this is what I've been thinking about. This is what I've been concerned with today. I've been thinking about how I think about things. I've been looking at myself and going, how do I look at things? Why is my lens sometimes so fucked up and so like myopic, and I get stuck in some avenue that's not good for me? Why do I do that? And how do I get out of it? I think for me, definitely, I pray, I ask God for help. I think other times I talk to friends. That's a good thing. Talk to your friends. Just go find that group of people around you who you can go, this is how I feel. But I think maybe other times we just learn when to feed a problem, feed it our attention, and when to starve a problem and remove our attention from it and let it shrink a little bit. I don't know, man. It's a bit of a quick one. This is what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? This is my kind of messed up thoughts, man. Go figure. Anyway, I hope that I hope this has helped somehow. I don't know. Whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's another podcast. And I'm sorry that we haven't had many guests in studio. That's just been my lackadaisical planning. Even had my friend booked the other day, and both he and me, we had it in our diaries and we both kind of knew about it, and it just didn't happen. But we'll get straight back on it, man. Now Easter's, we got a good run up to summer, so we will get a whole bunch of guests on in studio and stuff. Bless you guys. Thanks for listening. I'll see you on Friday for the weigh-in, which is going to be madness after this Easter egg stuff, and I'll see you on Monday for the pro tips, and again on Thursday for the podcast. Bless you guys. I hope you're doing really well. I hope whatever you're doing doesn't bother you too much. Now, official podcast ending here, but we are going to take this thing, particularly this topic, we're going to take it over to QCast Corner. So let's go. Welcome, guys. So again, this is just if you missed the last podcast, this is something we're going to be doing from now on. It's called QCast Corner. QCast is a new app built around questions, and it's landing very soon. In fact, the next video, hopefully we'll be able to throw a link in the description for you to get it on the Apple Store and wherever else. But it's just a great platform for asking questions and giving answers, or giving opinions, or raising more questions. You'll get used to it. You'll see it. But basically, we're having this QCast Corner on this Flat Earth podcast from now on, and it will link into the Flat Earth podcast channel on the QCast app, and you'll be able to actually go in and physically answer these questions I'm about to ask you. So I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions based on the podcast that you have just heard. So question 1. We spoke about when panic attacks, when your mind gets locked in some avenue that maybe is a bit aggravates you and sets you on edge. What have you found are the best skills for getting out of that slump? What have you found are some of the really helpful things to do to get past that feeling of anxiety? Question 2. What have you found when those moments of panic attack, when you get that low level anxiety, what have you found are probably the worst things to do? What have you found that when you did them, it just got worse and worse and built and built and built? What are those things? because I want to avoid those. So yeah, list some of those. And I'll ask a third question. What have you read? Who have you been influenced by that have helped you in the area of controlling your thoughts and your feelings? Because the mind is a very, very powerful thing. It can get you out of slumps and it can put you into some hyper kind of zone as well. Who have you read? Who have you enjoyed? And what's some of the best advice you've been given for controlling your lens, your outlook on life? Boom. That's it. We done skis. Later.